This year, between the 6th and the 9th of June, there will be a new election for the seats in the European Parliament. But what is the European Parliament even, and why will the election this year be so important? The European Parliament is a legislative body of the European Union where the members are directly elected by the people every 5th year. There are 27 member states in the EU, and after the vote this year, there will be 720 members in the Parliament which are working in 7 groups according to who they are most likely to politically align with. The EU represents more than 400 million voters, making it the second largest democratic election, after the elections in India. The last election in 2019 was groundbreaking. Up till then, voter turnout has been decreasing. But in 2019 the turnout rose above 50%, for the first time since 1994. In this year people turned out to give a clear message, by voting clearly for the European Parliament to put more resources and focus on reducing climate change. But this year, the expectation is that the interest in protecting and preserving the climate won't be as loud, and that the far right will gain more seats. This has been made clear by a recent leaked document of the strategic agenda from the EU. In 2019 this document clearly had the climate as a priority, but this year, the document is filled with language around defense, security and migration, with climate barely mentioned. In other words, it seems like the European Parliament is expecting to heavily cut their ambitions when it comes to actually trying to reduce the consequences of climate change, and instead answering with escalation of military force to stop the millions of migrants and refugees which there will be because of climate change and different wars. And the military spending of the world per person is already outpacing the spending at the height of the Cold War. So maybe it's time we try to focus on de-escalation instead. Now, in regards to the leaked strategic agenda, there has also been some reactions from some very prominent organizations. Ariadna Rodrigo, who runs the political campaigns for Greenpeace Europe, has called it a 20th century military strategy for 21st century security threats and stated, "You can't shoot a wildfire, and you can't bomb a flood." And 54 other organizations, with WWF, Oxfam and Save the Children among them, have made an open letter where they call the strategic agenda short-sighted and urges the EU to prioritize cooperation on global challenges. The strategic agenda is not yet set in stone. In its current form, it is a draft which is still open to change, and the EU leaders will only be endorsing it after the election. So this is why it is so important that we go out and vote as green as possible this year. To make sure that the European Parliament understands that the people of Europe still want to fight for a sustainable planet. If we do not, the members of the European Parliament can take it as if the people in Europe passively accept a world where we build weapons and walls to isolate ourselves, and millions will die because of our inaction around climate change. I don't know about you, but that is something I do not want in my conscience. And this is why the vote this year will be so important. So let's do this.